watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so today, or tonight rather, I wanted to discuss how Vangelis has passed away on May 17th. Now when I'm recording this, this is May 18th, of course, and the reason that I felt compelled to make this video was because Vangelis has had such a significant impact on so many people's lives. Not, of course, just because of his contribution to the history of film by way of Chariots of Fire and Blade Runner, which are two really significant offerings, but more just because of records like China and Mask, as well as Direct, Spiral, Heaven and Hell, Opera Sauvage, which I know technically Opera Sauvage is a soundtrack, but these records have meant so much to so many people, and I feel like his death isn't getting, not that getting press is important when somebody passes, but I do feel that his death is getting pretty much no attention whatsoever from the Western media, because as far as my Google News app is concerned, the newsstand, on the entertainment tab, the first thing is how Rihanna just gave birth to her baby, and the second thing was something else, and the third thing was something else, and the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and so on and so forth, till I was pretty much done with the entertainment section, and all the way pretty much at the very bottom, though technically not at the bottom, but near the bottom, was the rather brief article mentioning how Vangelis has passed away at the age of 79. And I don't know, I think that's really disrespectful. I don't think enough people, know who he is anymore, and that's because I think his contributions were so summed up as far as the early 80s were concerned, and everything he kind of did after that was so grossly overlooked. Because I remember when I was a kid, after I'd gotten into Vangelis, the first Vangelis record that I bought was Mask, and I always felt that should have given him a much wider audience because it was so orchestral, and it showed that he had so much more to offer than just how he seemed to constantly be getting lumped into new age or ambient music, and how it's it was almost like Vangelis was seen as more of a gimmick. He was seen as somebody who was a one-trick pony. He did what he did with Chariots of Fire, and everybody to this day still knows that score is still instantly recognizable, but it's been used in so many sort of I guess more slapstick ways, video games will use it for when you win a match on a goofy sports title on a video game. And because of things like that, it just feels like Vangelis's impact has been diminished considerably, because when anybody sort of recognizes his name, they kind of roll their eyes and they're like, oh yeah, the Chariots of Fire guy. And they always overlook Blade Runner, which is widely considered to be the perfect marriage of sight and sound, with Ridley Scott's visuals mixed with Vangelis's score. It made Blade Runner absolutely perfect. And it seems like Vangelis just never really got the respect he deserved, because, I don't know, with records like Boberg and Soil Festivities and everything he did with Jon Anderson, his body of work is rather large, and it's all over the place, and it shows that his ability to adapt and create different types of music, and then toss in the fact that the man could play a dozen instruments. I always expected him to go further than he did, and for his records to sell bigger, sell better, but I don't know. It's when I was a kid and I told people I liked Vangelis, like I said, a lot of people just rolled their eyes and were like, oh, the Chariots of Fire guy. I like that song, and it's there's so much more to that score than just the incredibly famous track from the Chariots of Fire score. I mean, where is Chariots of Fire? There it is. Five Circles, Abraham's Theme, Jerusalem. this record was incredible, or this score, sorry, was incredible, but with the titles taking over the way that it always has, I felt that because of his overwhelming success with Chariots of Fire, it's like everything else he did would forever be in Chariots of Fire's shadow. And that just wasn't right, because Spiral was absolutely perfect. Direct was like the most 80s sounding record ever made, and if you love the 80s and you love that like 1980s heavy synthesized sound, Vangelis' Direct is a fantastic, it's like a shining example of 80s perfection. And like I said, Boberg, Soil Festivities always sort of felt like the quiet lead up to Mask. It was almost like Soil Festivities for me was like the more electronic sort of demo version of Mask, because Mask was so big and so sweeping and so orchestral, and Soil Festivities felt very restrained and it felt very digital. And so they felt related in that way, even though they were separated by a few years, and I'm sure that technically they weren't related in any way other than me relating them now. But I absolutely love Vangelis. I've loved Vangelis since I was a kid. It was Vangelis' music that showed me that music could be something more. It was Mask, and it was Philip Glass's score for Koyaanisqatsi that showed me that music could be something so much bigger than just everything I was hearing and loving on the radio. And now he's gone, and nobody even knows who he is. And that really bugs me, because he's played such a significant role in my life since I was a little kid. And now, today, when I've talked to a couple people about it, I was like, I told my sister, I was like, hey, Vangelis died, and she gave me this look like, who? And she wasn't doing it to be a dick. She was doing it because she genuinely didn't know who Vangelis was. And when I said Chariots of Fire, she was like, oh, yeah, I know that song. And there's nothing wrong with that, because at least it's something for people to sort of anchor themselves around in regards to Vangelis. So then they're able to recognize that this person has passed on. And so it's nice in a way, but it feels like he might have got a little shortchanged. But yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about Vangelis passing away on May 17th, because I think it's sad that there wasn't a bigger deal made out of it. He gave a lot to the history of music. He defined an entire era of musicians. And it's almost like it just doesn't matter anymore. So, yeah, I'm going to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me here for, wow, almost 8 minutes while I discussed Vangelis' passing. If you agree with me and you think that Vangelis was magnificent and his death is going largely unrecognized, do something nice for somebody, and maybe that way we can kind of keep his memory alive a little longer. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button, because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.